Y nada, el servicio encontré y es aquí, pero estoy caminando de acá. Bueno, no de la anterior.
나는 그렇구나. 그런 소리. 가만 못 잤어. We're just waiting for the students to finish their conversations here in person. They're very talkative today. 그런 소리는 연기를 공디 유승기 가장 가래래 디 공을 같이 공이 연구. Hello Courtney, welcome. Hello Laura, hello Joyce. So maybe we can.
Namastê. Oi, Pedro. Tudo bem?
Bem, sim.
Tudo bem, sim.
Tudo bem.
Estão em casa nova, né?
Sim.
Linda casa. Nossa, ontem a aula foi maravilhosa.
For the people online to see the new house.
Feliz.
The door that we go inside.
Nossa.
It's a lot of light, so probably.
Que maravilha. Uma sala linda, clara, luminosa, espetacular.
Sim.
Pedro, como é que fica, querido? Porque eu estou fazendo essas aulas, e não estou contribuindo com nada. Você me manda alguma forma de eu contribuir?
Eu te mando sim, mas é tranquilo, não tem nenhuma expectativa de uma contribuição sua. Mas se você quiser, eu te mando o link. Se você tiver o interesse, se você tiver o desejo de contribuir.
Sim, eu tenho sim.
Ótimo, obrigado.
Claro, tá bom então. Gratidão.
Also,
so, touch the lead to all of you.
Yeah, tatiri also. Delen som juchi tatone sama se. Tachik ane sama nyam tunso. So ngaso tachik esoso ni mare zoi ton so tachik. Maso simgam ya jitaya. Kante yoris ta ngaso tudin ro di gang so sama nyam de lo gyongche ti chwa be. Marande na be ka ochuktus.
So the reason for us to be gathering together here, both the people who came here in person to Shide, also the people who are joining online. So the reason for us is to know how to work with our psychological world. So it's to know how to develop this word. And because of this reason, I'm very happy to gather together for us to together study and learn more about our inner life.
Yeah. That indeed, also nyam den zo me gona ta ngarang gi chik so lo jong che ja ta chik nyam nyong ro tes yun ju de ma she ores ro ane kyo so ya ti ga ne han tu an ro ta ni ngo ma se an ro ka ri chung so na ka ti na ni tu ta chang ro chis.
So for this reason, whatever I have already studied about the topic or whatever experience I have, so it's my job here to say this to you, and your job is to, whatever you didn't understand, whatever was not clear, so you formulate a question and you ask.
Yeah. Tangarangi tachik soso lobjon mambo chi shayate so chik soso nyamle kanto to that zore state kasmen soso chik kan shibate mejil shienro chona te ta soso ki chishu arang soso lobjon che sanje de mejil shie chona tanga chishu ta sim ya ganang ro senanda chik soso yang sanje de mejil shie chonsona chik pe sim le kibon ro 어디니 chung des
아니 기랑이 로전체리 dimsen디 아니 lemlencheani
다츠야 저 뭐이 주어데 저 뭐이 주어데 소소게 아니 냠레 체스나 또 그런 뭐이디 샴바질 벤도가 그시오 당어서 직접 세럼 뭐벌지 따야 tar바데 단신 좀 봐서지 또 드나 또 참아 샴바지 치츠 그 시오르
Mm.
샴바지 또
Mhm.
오늘 단단 걸 순들 가요 라요 무슨 냠든 좀 지기질 벤도치에 총나
Mhm.
근데 뭐에 다 알았어.
So the reason for all this study is to get to know all these concepts, to study all of this. First is to put into practice, and after putting into practice, one of the main goals, the objective, is to benefit others. That's the goal in this tradition. And since I have now the opportunity to say whatever I have studied to other people, that makes me very happy to be able to share this.
Yeah. 내용도 양 삼삼을 조정 거 맞아요. 삼삼의 양 직시했던 아니 지금 저도 그게 샴바디니 먹어서는 장야나 시했던 만들어도 진지 가르쳐서나 지금 가와도 됐었어. 남사티와티로 시스.
And probably many of you have already had teachings from other teachers. So probably whatever the way I'm saying things or whatever I explain, probably sometimes it's going to appear as contradictory. It's going to be not in accordance to what you have heard.
Yeah.
So at this time also, please ask. Please.
당하는 게 직시에 대해서 많지야 되다지 소소 장자 정충부스 나나 그만 여반도시. 어떤 나랑 게 대강이야 주네 비견이 되니 저의 마시야 다지 소소 강토도 정충물이야. 그만 여바디 시에 답시 제거했어. 다이나 삼선의 시에 노래한들이 용시그랬어.
From my side, what I'm trying to do is not talk about my private opinion, my individual opinion about the topic. I'm trying to bring what the Buddhist treatises talk about this. But of course, sometimes I may say wrong things and I may say some things that are not in accordance to the teachings.
Yeah. 내용도 다 있나요? 시했던 거 탑람 강는 중인데 그 답변은 즉 아니 소소소가 롭종 제사가 거리 리정도 세나 리정세나 다 진람링도 dim타세나 다 양의 취직 소소 시했던 거 무일 직바이나요. 즉 탑람은 저만 시했던 데는 먼저 인거랬어. 대성은 소요 준비 장도나 담아도 어디 참아 밥사대로 소선비가 거의 거랬어. 당보다요 시당대에서 만들어는 수시그랬어. 양지 이나데 소소 냠냠 다치 가서 산론 정사가 거리 그문자 왕그 됐대요. 시당 만들어요. 하는 거랬어. 담는
And it's also possible. It also happens that because we have different backgrounds and different studies, different understandings, so we use of different methods, different ways of talking about a topic, different ways of explaining. But then the idea is that all of these ways of explaining, though they're different, they fall into the same place, into the same authentic goal, in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that 드링 also 근데 아니 드링 럽센데 소전다 드링 also 디나래야. 가정을 시에서 다 남비숑나 기르셴니제 세니 가세지 그랬어. 제주 찌스고로 제주 찌는 거다. 안에 달 항마세 보는 것을 가장 시에 한조 지금 요래 때 직치 디지털이 룸말에 제주 가서 디니드 디랑 살토에 미래가 되죠.
So today our lesson is going to be, as we were already discussing a few days ago, we're going to be discussing the qualities and the characteristics of a spiritual teacher, of a teacher. And also I hope to get to the qualities of the student, what's expected of the student. So my hope today is to finish these two topics.
Yeah. Tadi 직전에 교수 단디 가서는 제 맹견이 통색을했어. 근데 그게 지금 아주 님은 그 신조서 디가네. 그 가상 원데 가상디 원걸 럽센도이나 되니 또 시럽세셔. 이렇게 중국이 차고 디가는 게 럽센식 상마 디가 시고야 돼. 내가 디리 시작이 인스. 다이나就是삼론나 단디강의 디서 뭐시 당선하다. 시라고야면도 텐색을했어. 야, 되게 디가는 직 나랑 그 삼선스 시야요세. Okay.
Yeah, so it might happen that some people might be thinking or might have thought that this topic is it's not much related to me about teacher or student. And also, for example, yesterday we were talking about how the teacher must have the realizations, and then we explained, because it's a very important topic, about the selflessness. So people might think that there's not much strong relationship. So that's something that I thought.
Yeah. 다이는 남비 다 교르 다치 게위 샤니세데 소소 로경체서 순을 때마 된세데 소소 라바레스 드니인시 게위 샤니 땡고에서 그치 쇼마레스 다이는 내가 손디 장해야 돼 들이 즉 안에 교르선들은 좀 게를 자토니 용기 상마가 즉 남비 쇼근나는 게겐다 기프트세 게위 샤니다 로마세 제와시도 때 간에는 시나 때 기침부 간에 있나시시
Yeah, so regarding a spiritual master and a disciple, this relationship, if as a student or as a disciple, you're interested in relying on a spiritual master in the sense, that's in your hands. That's your choice. But this relationship between a spiritual teacher and a disciple is something that's considered very important in the Buddhist treatises. It's something that is talked about. So we can have a sort of curiosity, even if you're not interested now in relying or ever in a teacher, you can study in a curiosity to understand the Buddhist path, to understand the Buddhist teachings. Okay, so why do they think this is important? What is the point of this, etc.
Tamisi Lam-Rim and Nale Garson is in Lamjitsavasi, Shini tenses, Tamazuchi, Lam Yamnation in Drongi, Chitambo, Jitsa, Sapondo, Sava wanted to say it, and Shini tenses it.
For example, here in the Lam-Rim, in this section, it's called the root of the path, the spiritual master. So the spiritual master here, the way of relying, the way of using the spiritual master as a support for your practice, this is seen as the seed, and out of all of this, all the other topics, all the other qualities grow. Why is it important?
Yeah, ani tananga shinin tele
So here now we're saying that the spiritual master, he needs to have 10 qualities. Yeah. And why is it important to analyze and to investigate and to be clear about what are the qualities that these 10 qualities that the spiritual master needs? Because if you're a student, if you're a disciple that is really going into the Buddhist path and really wants to go at it sincerely, it gets to a point in the Buddhist path where it said that the spiritual master is to be recognized as a Buddha.
Yeah,
as a Buddha.
Yeah.
Like a Buddha, yeah.
Yeah. And
why do we need to see the teacher as a Buddha? If from the deep of your heart you have this recognition that your teacher is like a Buddha, then whatever he says, whatever advices he gives to you, then you 100% you trust into this and you go in this way.
Yeah. And this is
the point of having this recognition because the teacher needs to be put in a throne like a Buddha, very beautiful, and he needs to have all these servants, the disciples like servants serving him. Is it because of the teacher? No, it's not because of the teacher. It's for the benefit of the student to have this recognition. If you have a teacher that's a very good teacher, qualified teacher, and you're able to have this trust, this level of trust in the teacher, then it's very easy to develop your wisdom, to develop your qualities.
Yeah. Tayina jorang gagendal pa yichi jashi jatamba korang karasonga nasing kucheto yene gagendi chachi yabo changmena ko chikta sosalia namto naayade lam lokpa tie ninga yores.
But if-
Chene chechu chet shegwa
But if you have this 100% trust, if you have this kind of faith towards a teacher that doesn't have these 10 qualities, then in the same way, he's going to show you a path that's not exactly correct, and you're going to follow this path 100%.
다 이나요 초치는 그 근데 약보 쇼지 같이 그 근데 배치 슈페 남다 이나요 그 근데 말랍던 쇼니 게트디 콜레지 체메나 영 게트디 아지로.
But also, if you have this very qualified teacher, really wise, qualified teacher, but you're not able to have this level of trust in the teacher, then it doesn't matter whatever he says, you're not going to be able to go 100% in this direction. You're not going to develop as much.
야, 단도 되나 가르치네. 그겐데 람도 챙게때 양다 바시고 그랬다시. 데니 로마데 콜레지 자세자 탐바고 그래스. 대체도 니가 좀나 다 로마데 야지페 그래스.
So in brief, we need two things. We need a teacher that is fully qualified, and on the other side, we need a student that has this 100% trust in the teacher. If you're able to have these two things coming together, then you develop very, very quickly.
야, 언도 되나 로마 쳇. 다 딘디 네 지진 성소나 다 그겐가디네 마당 아주치. 아니 잠도 코르소나 아니 리지데. 아니 덴지 데니 데노 수소 냠랭거마 카르 랍타나나. 로마 타랑 야시자탄 바티 쳇도 그래스.
And yeah, so it's in brief, it's for the benefit of the student. And if the student has this kind of mind at the beginning, then all the stages that the teacher is going to be guiding the student, for example, about karma, about refuge, about the Four Noble Truths, all of these things are going to be absorbed in the mind of the student. He's going to trust these teachings too.
Yeah, Benadaji, and Namje Pinto Janawasochi, Tijiding and Namje Wasota Lobsation Baseo Marcarina. So Chip Namji Yichiosa, and a trouble to Mainare. Chip Michike Lamonde, so Tig Labanashan Namsa Yichin, Ko Karalabanashan, or a Lalita Hashindon, Matendores. As a practical Sorata begin. So Lale Mustayala, and Lale Mustayala, and a Lampton Anki Yantapa. And it's also Lampton Anketa Yichit so much. The Chenapin and Namji Jiding as a chick, the younger Suinoya. Bed Lekasui Lamdun Mabusto, what into one daily tissue. Bernada chick, and the Lopse Shamba, Penansi Dishina, Ansi Gayapushu, Charonga College, Ko Labanoji Jam.
It's similar. We have this experience in other activities of our life, in anything that we're learning. We try to find people that are qualified, and if they have these qualifications and we can have this trust, then we can have classes with this person about any topic whatsoever. And then if we have the trust and we listen, then it's much easier to learn. Yeah.
As he talks about trust, so there's examples, for example, with the Karmapa. He's like the leader of a whole lineage, so he would have all these realizations that are needed, but he still has this big scandal about him. Is this because it's not related to Buddhism directly? Should we just ignore what the person, like the kind of mistakes they do in their private life? Or should we keep distance from a teacher like this?
Should you ignore his behavior in his private life, or should you?
Like, none of us is perfect. Even our teachers make mistakes.
Okay.
And there's like big discussions if people should, for example, still follow the Karmapa after what he has done. And some people say, yes, it has nothing to do with his teachings and his realizations. And other people say, but if he's a bad example in his private life, we shouldn't follow him anymore.
Okay, so Rika is asking if, for example, with the Karmapa.
He has a child, and there's rumors that it was not, that the woman didn't agree.
Okay, so for example, Rika is asking, for example, with the Karmapa, so he's a leader of a lineage, so he's a very high Lama, but also apparently there is some controversy about him. There are some things in his private life that are not in accordance, to a perfect teacher. So should we just ignore these things, or should we stay away from when we hear these things? Yes, something like this.
Yeah.
저 야고
그리고 고래 이나양 배ше 지난인디 고만요 이나양 ganga kashiore kongi kawa sawana ganga kashiore jibu bujiore ani amaladi kelenche masandi puti de dongta jigore ani chepa de so chawa de so ni gengi chawa de so ngaran so ignore chegore yang harin pote gore contrast take chegore di perche do not contrast take chegore
저런데 같이 이 워들 마치 레레그래 디코트.
Yeah, so this it's gonna arrive down here as we continue. It's gonna arrive something related.
야, 다 된다고 원내도 제단에 다 갈라오르다 가정을 주시 사령서 그겐다이 게트리스야 돼. 당번이 자샤자 담바 그게 로테 그겐 소소 베네 그 라마라 마테네 코사니 로병치니 로왕볼 그게 technically 그겐이야 그겐서거나 다 그런 그 라마라 마레디 콜마르 뜻체 아니 그런 게 마 게트리데 잡종다 참마다 짓체 게트리데야 그겐들이야 아니 다치 그런 게 아니 지금 게 또베 연대리 지 근조를 장말라 되지 단다와 지하시나 로만벌 냠도 쉬었네 이 담말에 대체 고세다 중근화여야 돼 되레스 가성에네 그때 종종
So basically what we have talked before is that when entering a relationship with a teacher you shouldn't enter 100% into this relationship or already with 100% trust. So what is recommended in the Buddhist treatises, in the text, is that you go to receive teachings from this teacher, not as a root lama, not as your lama in the sense that you're relying on this lama, on this teacher, but just as someone who is giving you teachings, just as a regular teacher. And then you should analyze this for many years. You should analyze about his teachings, about the background, everything, very, very detailed, very careful about everything related to the teacher. And then you should make a decision.
Yeah. Tani ta tiwa de tele ta so so thamala gege te sawi chile gege ten sawi chile jaja jata ma so so de sawi la ma yimba ten gege te kuni gege tikinde wani chong sawi chile ya ta ko ge ya na je tanda ta kasi tindi ta chi so so ge ani ma dewa koya soriya tindi jondo chi gege ko la chi jondo koya re yang so so mi kan thong ya re tindi kar chong chong na 다들 가르쳐 보아야지. 디티와 데리스고 디와데.
Okay, so if it's the case that your question is more related to after you have analyzed the teacher and you have already made the decision of considering him to be this lama that you're going to rely on him as a lama, and then when it happens that you hear about faults or you see faults or these things, then how should you proceed if this is the case?
Yeah. Tati kable Lam-Rim sonala karso yersena. Kyun tezi yonga tate ani sosoga ani ti choni matab. Yodeng chotili mi barta gores. Yodeng kang yoba chotini tana. Sosole ani lama tinis ani sosole ani yodeng mambo chinjagres. Ani soso kyun chinshin toni ti gani lamsa kule yiche tan tepa londa trijana soso ta chik.
So what is said in the Lam-Rim in this very specific case, of course, what is said in the Lam-Rim is if it happens, you must train yourself in not giving attention to the side of the faults and training yourself on seeing the qualities. In this specific case, train yourself in seeing the qualities, because if it happens that you start seeing the faults, then it's going to harm yourself. You're going to start losing the trust and faith in the teachings, and you're going to start losing whatever qualities you have developed. And on the opposite way, if you focus on the qualities, on the good things that you see, that's going to become a good condition for your qualities to develop in this specific case.
Yeah, that sometimes 소소 랑기 지금 맞춰 미션버선이 고자야 통 시샤.
그래.
다 직든지 전도잖아. 소소는 건 통해 많이 봐.
Ah,
미식선이
listen.
고자들이 빼만 보여래서.
Ah,
나도 소는 가서 영지 간에 치제 초도 참.
uh-huh,
그래서 영 지와리스로.
uh-huh. And also many times uh, about criticism. Many times it's criticism that we haven't actually seen for ourselves. We don't have all the facts, but we hear about. We hear many rumors. We hear many criticisms. So this is also something to investigate also, to see what's the truth, the
Yeah.
situation.
야, 되네도 그래. 다 되니 마 단단히 가서 여태 나와도 마시. 단단히 대직신이로. 들이 가서 딜럽센 단단히 마. 아니 신경일로 신경은 신경 여태 나마듯이 내가 강에 주시잖아. 로마가 신경.
No, ma
그치?
insegnino
아니
Ah,
단도 딜만도 인스라 강조죠. 아니 지마디 럽센 지만 아니 가서 먹기는 마. 단전이야 가다 디네 마다 지니 람람 그 아니 지키위 전종 그람 그런 바상마 당당 디니 차마다 디마 아니 생기
so now I'm going to continue here with the qualities of the teacher, and I'm going to try to run a little bit now for the qualities of the teacher, of the student, so that next class we can start with the precious human birth, precious human life, and also impermanence.
야 디니마 아니 기위 전종 람스 기와시나
Okay, so there's a question here of Courtney. What if the teacher is doing something that harms you directly? 아니 이렇게 근처와 기랑나 카투 노바 됐나? 니 가르쳐 그래.
다데 칼라 다데 게겐게 촌 갑티 나바 테세야 돼 나바 간젤라 워다 페나 아니 게겐 카시 다 게겐디 그 कोन कनो नामदा गानी समझलिया चिक सोसलिया अनि चिक छोदम दायन रोता
좋다고 그래.
मचिक कर अनि त खप्ति कचा निम्बो मासिया पे चन चिचन जगम मारेसे तंदि पे माबो योरेस त चिक चना तिसो अचो रिजोंदा तिंदि उंगे जापान रो यसरेस सु पोक चिसों रो यना पेना फामा सु पोगलेया कासेजी पे तिंदि चनया 그런 자말이 부용원이가 나쁘다는 게 있어서 셈라 뇌에 되는 거 말이다. 어디 내가 소소 삼로 단초 싫어.
Yeah, so in the harm, the about this harm, how is he harming you directly? So there are different types of harm. For example, there is one kind of harm that can be seen as harm that is done out of a good intention, of a pure intention, and this happens many times in relationships with teachers, especially in the Tibetan society. So here maybe there's a difference in culture, because many times in a relationship with a teacher and a disciple, the teacher is not saying beautiful words for you, is not praising you, is not saying things that you want to hear. That's very common in the Tibetan society, and those can be interpreted as harm. So that's one type.
Yeah, pena pamazu 보려야 소소. 아니
For example, for example, fathers and mothers, parents, they many times for you to behave in a better way, out of a good motivation, they hit you, they can hit you. We have a lot of this in Tibet nowadays in society. That's not well seen.
네, 다들 스스로 거의 다 있죠. 상로 정당 그 대승원의 마트, 동네지 마트. 다들 스스로 너버지 상로 단계요나. 다들 그 뒤와디 되는 스스로 그 갑자기 너버리잖아. 다 같이 그러세요. 다 너버 그게 맞지세야 돼. 최선 다 되는데 오라고요나. 그러이나세 되죠. 스스로 그겐디 직 그게 소소 야진도야 제대 지금 nakpon 라야로 되는데나 대원이잖아 대 저는 갑자기 너바지 말해.
Yeah, so if it's the case that it's meant that the motivation is for you to develop, and then he says very, very bad words for you, he treats you in this way, then there is have to see if that's a harm or not. And many times this also happens because of the different backgrounds we have, different cultures that we come from. So there are many things we interpret as harm to in this relationship.
소소는
Shasara
원이
gabla.
제와 용게 소소는 제와 원이 용조시나
Uh-huh.
뒤절에 아니 담님부 가제님부 자니 호마스 그 뒤나 코스니 줄이진 지금은다 뒤야지도
There's a saying we have in Tibet that if someone really loves you, he's not going to say beautiful words for you.
Yeah.
He's going to be pointing your mistakes and etc.
야, 더 소소를 시다 되면게지 더 가르치나 저 논제체 되나 배 약본도 시그레스 잡로 그 님보시그리나 잡로도 저 지어요 말스
But if they're always saying beautiful words, then there's no real love behind. Yeah.
야, 진짜
영문에 높아이나?
당원이 높아서야 돼 가르치 등이 튀어래
영문에 높아이나야.
원이 높아 옛날에 시도
그럼.
원이 높아서야 돼더 그런 게 다기 튀어대 그건 갑자기 높아지나시
그래.
제 높아 제당데 가르 또 높아 제당을 하리 그래서
네.
더 높아 문제 제당데
Mhm.
다기 그런 양보지 체니 저런에 쭉디 짜다 가르면 갈랍스네 때문에 높아 말이 뭐니잖아
Mhm.
이 뭐네 뒤 높아 증거메스
Mhm.
다 이나야 다 소소로 대마인 바게 다직 다 높아 가르세
Yeah, but then it depends. Yeah, and then it depends how
Yeah,
you identify. How do you see this as being harmful? So if you see that it's out of a good motivation for you to improve, etc., then that's not to be seen as harm. But then there's the question: what is this harm that you're talking about? What kind of harm is this?
yeah.
If it's just in general, or if you have a specific, then it depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, then 당가서 되지는 리서치. 다티 연대 찍대.
Yeah, come too close.
Mhm.
Just in general. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Just in general. So that, yeah, so then it depends, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You
다
have to
그런
see
게.
what kind of
Okay, what do we do in the case that our teacher dies?
okay.
So, for example, I had this discussion with a friend. He chose Lama Sopa as his teacher,
Okay.
but he only studied with him for like, let's say, 6 months or something.
Okay.
It's not that he had the time to like test him for years, but he's still convinced he's his teacher. And I asked him, what do you do now that he dies? And he says, yeah, I wait for his rebirth to be my next teacher. But with the rebirth, we don't know what qualities he will develop because he's first a baby and you never know. So if our teacher dies, can we like say we choose a new good guru now? Should we still stay with this one? Like,
Okay, so Rika is asking the case you have a root lama, you have this root lama, and the lama dies. Do you have to wait for the reincarnation of the lama, or do you choose another root guru for you?
Yeah, then. 당 나랑 삼세치는
In my
Yeah.
opinion,
아니 소소가 아니 다 라마디 때니 결혼보지 소소가 냠내리 가리나 그게 대직 소소는 그런 겼다 봐 샴발라 때 마고 된지가 네팔에 알레잖아 아니 라마 미시 샴바 마테나야 다랑 나마기 람탄다 때 나지치는 거나 배나 소소 그겐테 결혼보시 텐사 소소 냠렌다 직 가르간이나 소소야 야지 온도사 네체 시용가 네체 쇼라 냠렌데서 심리 버셔바지 때 마고 된지 소소 네파 야보 차잖아 어디든 레세메 네도야나 직 무시 마테네 그거레스 그 마테나 타마이 베탄다 콘다 다와팅 도제나 네세나 소소 직 샴바 산에 그겐디니 때네 장토나 티아요 삼교스 다 그런 게 양세시 그게나 소소 로세다 상마가 연구 말
So then it depends. For example, in the case that you had a long time to study with the teachers, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You had a long time relying on this teacher, and you learned about the studies, you learned about how to practice, you learned how to proceed according to his teachings, and then he dies. Then you can just keep practicing his teachings, practicing what he has already given to you. But in the case that you had, for example, 6 months with the teacher, and you were not able to get the full education, full way to practice, etc., then in my opinion, it's more beneficial to look for someone else who can give this to you.
Yeah, because 저 그런도 봐 용기랑 샴라마 샴바딘이 좋나? 그 대신에 연대마다 경가요 말.
Yeah,
나마 라마 pen lama zabando korang sonja so nyamle yimbare ngama sonja mambo nye yo tisha ani shamba saniyo chichena yang songtong mandawa tinde mambo kwe
If you have this wish to look for another teacher, to keep searching for another teacher, then it's only benefits. I cannot think of any faults in this. You can keep practicing what Lama Zopa Rinpoche, for example, in your case, what is Lama taught. And also the other ones, they're not going to be saying completely different things. So different ways of saying, different ways of explaining the practice. So yeah.
Yeah, teaching sang tanda chik gain sosolia chik nyam nyonda ani mandra yoro. Te onde yang chik soso ngoni tento na gage kasima tento na ya. Kesa mate kyong yo marisi.
In my opinion, as I said before about Lama Tsongkhapa, who had many teachers, so each teacher is going to have different experiences, different backgrounds, different ways of explaining. So in my opinion, as much as you can, how many teachers you can have the opportunity to receive teachings and to learn how to practice, there's only profit out of this.
Yeah. So
about the qualities again. So one quality is whatever is the topic that he's teaching you. So he needs to be higher than you about this. He needs to know more, have more understanding than you about this topic. For example, just like learning math. Of course, if you go to learn math, you need a teacher that knows more about math than you. If he knows less than you, or he knows the same as you, you're just going to be in class and you're not going to get anything out of it. Yeah, so this is one point, to have a higher qualities than you. And it's not a question of having every quality better than you. It's about whatever you're studying, whatever you're receiving from the teacher. And then the second category of these qualities is more about how the teacher must know how to gather the students and how to guide the students. So it's more related to his skill in guiding the students. So just like something that the Buddha has said.
Yeah.
So about the way that the teacher must guide the student, the Buddha has said this. The Buddha said, all the Buddhas, they cannot wash away your negativities with water. They cannot clear away your suffering with their hands. They cannot take away your suffering with their hands. Our realizations, the Buddha's realizations, they cannot be given to anyone. They cannot just give the realizations. Just by teaching the truth of existence, can they liberate sentient beings? Yeah.
아니 고 말했어.
So the way, the Buddha here is saying that the way to guide the student in a correct path is by teaching the truth of existence, the truth of the way things exist. So if the teacher is not good in teaching, if he's not good in expounding the meaning of the words, then the student cannot go in a correct way.
tene ta chik tere tade ma shewa le pe ani she tang tablam drama da ti ke ba pe ta de drama da ko ya tade ni so ma bo yor tade ni chama de na de na yong ro
And then there are many things that are said about how they should use examples when teaching and all these tools that he can use when teaching, but we're not going to talk about all of them here.
tab ke ba se chi to ta ina pe ka shi pe she tang pe ke ba tam ke ba ni jo shu shi ya kan shi ya ba sho ngo ni bu ge de le ya xiao men jo ko no ding ge le ya ta so so chi she ya de ka chi pe chi zan ru dan de ma ba sho rang la xiao pe ge le ya chi kan de ji pen tok chi tong de sam din de men nan de ko ma re se ya zi wi da ni se shi so ma sha yo.
And then here there are two qualities here that we're coming. We're coming into being skilled in talking about the Dharma, so being skilled in explaining. So this is one quality, and the second one is going to be love. So having love for the students. So it can happen that a teacher, he can be very skilled in explaining. He is very knowledgeable. He has all this knowledge, and he can talk for hours and hours. But if he doesn't have love, if he's not caring about the student, then he's not going to think about, okay, how to benefit the student, how to make the student better understand. Okay?
Yeah. Then that is not the Yam Yong Romo Chomsi. So, okay, Mambo Yore, Seri Kona, Lochola. Again, Pesh Pe looked up Penkepa, Penich. In a that's also the Chuchiora. Chick Ticoena, Chick Takanta, so office hours.
For example, I have a lot of experience with this. So, for example, there is a monastery in my monastery in the south, there is a science center, and we have many teachers who are really very knowledgeable. They're very qualified as teachers. And then usually they have, for example, a class of 1 hour, and they teach exactly for 1 hour. When the clock hits 1 hour, then it's over.
Yeah. In a Gagan Kashi and Kaderism, Koranga Katis Pagi Michil Rate Togudu. Gratel Tapshi Kandish Korang Samson Tisukon Tambachin. Dear Mabodus. Then Lomatso down the Mancho, Tindu Gagan Pekawich. Samson Lomatsu Pe Pento Pitcher. Chick the Pe, your day of where Lapton Keba Yorite. Karina Tatiporiti chick. Kuni Chapashi don't do it.
But then there are also some teachers that they're so involved, they're so focused in how is the student understanding, what benefits the student getting out of this, that they forget about time and they keep studying. And usually those are the teachers that the students like more. So I think seeing this, I think that there's a difference between those that have this quality of love towards the students and those that have it less.
In the Tawashi, Pena.
And then there's a question.
Against you, the Kunika low air Tapshi Chipa watch it, came a Chipa watch it. The Chitala Bagitla Bear, Tiva watch it. Chital Mena, Tisu Chipa Chitina, the Chapa Tansa.
There's a question, if their way of explaining everything, all the words are exactly the same, also the time that they teach is exactly the same, yeah? 1 hour for both of them. One of them has this loving quality in his heart. The other one doesn't have this. Is there any difference? Yeah, the same skill, yeah, they teach in the same way, right? Same method, same skill, same knowledge. But one has love, this mind that thinks to benefit the student. The other one is teachers thinking of his salary. Can we make a difference between the two?
같이 식진 버게리아 같이 펜토고도 지디 펜토고도 당가 주디강을 심식으로 제나 대조적인 헤보디스 간체서리스 그래서 딘디강은 doctrinally si pento cheseres kasing asudi kon research na tambo ju sopa ka cheseres sopa hypothesis joga tambo indi yongkore sopa kondo
sopa the analysis
kamar hypothesis predict
the sopa hypothesis yeah, so if we put the hypothesis if we put the hypothesis of whether the influence of one teacher is going to be higher than the influence of the other one.
Yeah.
He's using some science word.
Research lo chena, and Jesus and
yeah, if we make this research about this, whether there is a higher influence or not, what's the hypothesis that you put forward? Like, what do you think would come out of this? Yeah. Speaking like
namje hypothesis
usually for a hypothesis you need to use your background knowledge to think what would happen.
According to background knowledge, the more love there is in the teacher, the less focus on salary or other external factors, the better the explanation and the willingness will be to teach.
And you're saying that it would benefit more the students.
Yes.
What's the reason?
Why?
Because they will show a higher amount of interest and of investment in the growth of the students, which means after hours or explaining differently or understanding the type of way the student learns, because the objective is a loving objective that the student advances.
So I'm going to give another example.
What is this hypothesis? We all met His Holiness. We know how just His love, just passing by on the streets, there's thousands of people lining the streets. He doesn't even say a word. Like obviously just the love He has is a teaching for everyone.
One example. For example. Yes. If there's in the street there is a very hungry dog. Okay?
Shambade koron shambade tindi itziwa menyo ina koron kalasi tawa hadir into tin chile pandre chitele tene roshana chitele pentole chapando dog maris.
And then so there's a very hungry dog in the streets, and then there's one person that comes to the dog and very loving, like give the food to the dog. And then give the food to the dog. And then there's someone else that the second person just gives the food without thinking much, just throws the food at the dog. So did the dog get different benefits? Yeah, can you say that there was a difference to the benefit that the dog had? That's a question.
A good question.
Yes. One person said yes, two people said yes.
Yes.
This is a democracy, three people said yes. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so it's decided. Yes, there is a difference. So
Yeah,
it's hard for us to prove exactly how this happened.
But for me, it's like what is the subtlety of the intention that is a little hard to explain, but it's more energetic, more about.
이노야 다 지디 라야데 카레 칼라 라야데 치파레스.
And what is the dog getting?
코로
Food.
라야데 칼라데
The same, yeah,
라야데
the same food.
다 코레야 샴바 코 위시타 미들 인텐션 지와 베야 보여 지데 요레 지데요 말. 이나 지들은 칼라드라 조고 자야들.
Yeah, so he filled his stomach with food with both people. Yeah, the people who had love and the person who didn't have love.
다
But for example, with the dog example, if someone just throws the food, then the dog might be scared by how he throws the food.
Yeah, the dog might be.
So if the other person is like, for example, you have love, you first let the dog sniff your hand and you reach the food with love, then the dog will not be scared, he will understand that there's a good connection.
야야. 야, 다된다고 가서 즉 지와디 지세 근롱세 가서 벤토 친구 이메. 다도 가서 연대 다 남비 주의 나는 티강을 배 제바세한테 뺏기 친구 쉬우스. 대시 저거스. 좋아. 어디 다도 가서 제동네. 이 칼로르다. 다댕인 대시에나 무시다 메타 카운터 남비 중고 나는 배 제바세한테 뺏기 친구 쉬우스. 지야 대한 내가 되는 시리즈. 같이 소소 파티어치는 팝소데 랑징 소소레 타니오리 차트 그 지카르사 맞서 동토지
Yeah, I don't have any special explanation, but yeah, usually in Buddhism, love is considered to be such an important thing, and it's related to how if you have this love, then there's a closeness. People are close to each other if there is this relationship of love. So there is this feeling of close.
나가서 적차세 좋아. 자, equal. Get you again. Okay. That didn't so get chungus jana partial the chase just. So chunshi jana partial the chunshi. Then also zero kazi chair partial cheaper.
Yeah, so it's similar to an echo. So for example, when you scream at a place that gives you echo, so the echo also comes back to you as a loud sound. Also with love, if you give a big love or if you give an average love, it depends on how much love you give, then the other side usually responds also in a similar way.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the last two. Now the last two.
Yeah.
So the
take again there, touch Tinti and it's Siva Yonke in the Giona, Takare, Shambal Pani, touch you look to Chenare, country Shambal, the Karina Pe, and in Patsunchiale Pe.
Yes, so if the teacher has this love, so something that's going to happen out of this love, then he's also going to make effort. He's going to be hardworking for the benefit of his students.
Yeah, so Troyers, Trono, Gana.
He's going to be very happy. He's going to have this happiness in making effort for the benefit of the student. So if he has this happiness of being hardworking, you can say hardworking, maybe as a quality, hardworking. So if he has this happiness when he makes effort for the student.
막 지글롭전도 지하에 갔더니 년단신 가르고 가세시키거나 텔레아 감에서 있는 증거 말이지 까나면 교하면.
So then if he has this, then whatever happens during the class or happen during the process with the student, whatever problems arise or the student's not understanding and he has to teach more and more or whatever problems this arise, then the teacher is not going to see these things as problems. So here the quality would be 교화방화.
Yeah.
So literally is abandoning sadness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in the translation there's a different term probably. It's like this.
Yeah. 다더니 야다 대한다는 것도 다시 그건 걸음 시사로.
Yeah, so
So
we have already talked a lot about the qualities of the teacher and about teachers. So maybe it's already a bit boring for you. So because of this, I'm sorry. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, 다 되니 다 Gende dinijina da loma karche kursi.
So if the teacher is
Sure.
like this, so how does the student needs to be?
Wait. Before we come to the students, there's still a
Okay.
bunch of questions.
Okay,
Right.
you
Oh.
two or one? Okay.
Yeah, the first.
It's
No,
Choose a
like,
good one.
this is the
Okay, yes,
topic.
Sure.
We shouldn't just rush through it.
Mhm.
What should we do? Like, how important is it that we have a personal connection to the teacher? For example, His Holiness, he's the teacher of everyone. But I never had a private conversation with His Holiness, and I probably will never have one. So some people say because His Holiness has special realizations, it doesn't matter. He can still test the student, and you can still have this relationship with him, even if you haven't met him privately. Is that true, or would you say no, you should really have a one-on-one conversation with the teacher?
Okay, so Rika's question is basically how important is it important to be physically close with your teacher? Because for example, with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, many people consider him to be their teacher, but it's hard to be physically close to the Dalai Lama. So is it necessary this physical being physically close or not? What's the sign?
Yeah, 하고 있어.
Yes.
야, 나한테 저한테 배 본두세.
It's a good question, very good
사블로
question.
배 사블로 보다니.
Very
저 시리도.
good thinking, yeah.
야, 다들 그런 저 그래서나 그겐세테 그겐게 getting on 따지 치고 그래서 그겐 게트게 그겐 냠다 치노 경치노 뭐뭐 더 구치와데 되는 줄인다. 다 공산 총대는 거 지금 게치 버길이야. 아니 멤버 그런 그 팀 거치니 아니 치디요. 근데 미치그레레야 아니 케파치에스야 데 공산 총래야 디디서다 건가 연구 말아.
그래, 연구한다.
미치그레레야. 그 다다치 콜레 케파치니 세야로 디그치 마이 기용고 티오로. 더 구치와데 되는 연구 줄인다. 다 컨텐츠 인다. 당이 삼세데 단단 도와나리야. 그놈 기용고치니. 즉 다가로 다데 그놈 지식세요. 대담 대화한다 올리시요래. 그놈 기용고치니 스스로의 motivation, general motivation 세죠. general specific in main 그놈 지식세요. 대담 대화한다 것이 차가 요래세. 근데 이제는 그 팀이 교육을 말했어요.
교육임을 기는 기금론들이 하나.
그 공산 쪽 밀기리를 개발지에 같이 내나요. 그런 기운 거 아니 그는 기운 거 그는 요래서 이천이 듣고 그랬어요.
저요래.
대담 대화는 다 두세야지.
기용. 기용은 지.
고생.
너무 그런 거리.
배나. 다 그런 게 제가 된득스라. 저한테 오래서 된득스. 다 배나 교육 말해서 계시나. 연구 말해서 공산 총대나 즉 배드 그 기운 거 전에 그런 게 내마 아니 남기 공산 총대는 손주성이 갑이야. 아니 미망 너만도 있네. 배 맞자 배만 보여서 손주성한테 대당 densaка gomba ranganon sonjisme. Sondan koron bet mandrash.
Yeah, so usually the relationship with the teacher, so it said that the teacher is going to analyze the student for a long time to see if it's a appropriate student to have. The student is going to analyze the teacher, and they study for many years. They form this relationship to study for many years. His Holiness, he is the teacher of many people working in the general society, and so he doesn't have this relationship of this analyzing the student one by one individually and have this individual relationships, but he has this general motivation and this general teachings. For example, he teaches when he teaches. There are two types of teachings basically. So one where many lay people come and he gives general advices for the public, and also he teaches sometimes in the monasteries. And there's a very distinct, very different these two ways of teaching. Was it correct?
Yeah. Tendo chigam kore. Ne kante yorsena pena gomba khando ne jong chimbulo lo byongchi ya. Tindi le lo byong ti kam la konsan chop sun chu son mama tawai na. 아니 미च्या서 용나 마모식 주는 고음에도스 고통. 그래서 대가블이야. 역성당 베르만다와.
So many times in the past, His Holiness has gone to the monasteries, and he was talking mainly to the people who are studying or have already studied Buddhism. And in these times, the lay people didn't understand. They usually don't understand his teachings because of the way what he's saying, the way he's saying, and to whom he's talking to.
아니요, 참사를 가려서나 다리 손준대. 그래서 난이도 안 더 손주 지나래. 난이로 막. 대사리는 그 공부하는 게 비시는 가수리 대한다 몰래야. 다 남지 조간들이 뭐 동자야. 민가수는 가수.
그래?
조가.
조가스.
미 마라 손주까지 미 용종의 순구 말해. 왜나 난이 나이로가 맞추선. 소한테 자성리 공부를 민가가 비시가 대한 다 중원이야. 동전 삼라 대야 름바망보여. 름바망보여. 수삼아 차창기 미. 롱가만리는 메자스. 문도 당고에서 망보여. 문도 뒤송주도 제라 문리양 삼라 대고야다 망보여. 수삼아 차창교. 진짜이 난이는 로 메자스 그런 그 무시에 나요. 진짜 그런.
Dessa di longoma.
롱가마 난이. 롱가마. 오케이. 그래서
Facciamo che cosa di condi ngolanga la dessa la
다된다. 손저 때다 거스 다도 손주 가시 아니 공사조 손에 가시 밥리를 송고요 말해. 고는 맨 먹시와 막 가시겠다. 당원이 버길이야 뒤돈다 하kon게. 아니 대응 뭐래 원도로 아니 참대고야. 원래 리트인지 로데되고 수상마 사산요. 이는 게 그래. 그래서
Yeah, so there are many steps, for example, also something that His Holiness did last year. So there are many things, many teachings, things that His Holiness doesn't say in general teachings, he doesn't say to the public. And then something that he did last year was inviting groups of 5 Geshes each. Geshes?
Yeah.
5 Geshes. And to each of these Geshes, he would give these special teachings to people that already have gone through all the introduction and etc. So there's also this relationship. So those were teachings for as introduction to the retreat of this. So retreat for this, no? Okay, so it's actually the different orders. So these Geshes, they had stayed in retreats as an introduction, and then they came to this teaching with His Holiness. Nice. Okay, so Courtney here is saying, you mentioned that the teacher will analyze a student and know them well. Does that mean that the teacher analyzes everyone that wants to be a student and decides if they want to accept them? Or do they accept anyone that asks them to be the root guru? Any, let's just say, again, number two, look through. 아니 그래서 수이나 양키는 책이래. 양나 no. 네 그런 저디 개발 책이래. 디 again 개발 책이래. 참아 개발 책이래. 니수 로마인 봐도 봐야나.
야 그거를 너무 그런 게 아니. 로마 영화에 체질상은 액셉트 그래. 체질상 맞으면 되는 거. 코로나티 퀄리티요나 이 말에 들리게 봐요.
Yes, 미창마 말에 루창마 공 accept 책이 말에.
그런 거 봐. 요아 삼성님 루트들이 제시 창고라. 기계바지. 배나 당에 벤조지자. 그게식 딱 루트실에 차셔. 루트대 그런 백그라운드. 배나 직전에 그런 파마가 된 조에 도파민죠. 양은 그런 농박은 도파민죠. 양은 출력 샴바가 된지 양 된지 디는 조야라 가차요나. 이게 근데 액셉트가 말해. 제 좋은 말에 도와주셨죠.
Yeah, so the teacher is going to analyze, he's going to someone said something. Can you repeat about Geshe? Is he able to accept student? Can you repeat about Geshe? Okay, so let me just translate what you said now. What you said now? I remember. I think I remember. So yeah, the teacher is going to analyze the student. So he's going to analyze whether there's any problems, any obstacles about accepting the student as accepting the student. So for example, if the student, let's say there's a lot of obstacles with the parents of the student, and the parents of the student don't want this relationship to happen, yeah, or there's problems with this region, or problems with yeah, or related to other religions.
Other society, they didn't accept.
Yeah, other types of problems, others mundane problems, then they're not accepting the student as a student. Yeah, so it's not everyone. Because if the teacher accepts anyone and there is all these problems like waiting there, and then they can come later in the relationship, and then they can cause a lot of problems. Yeah.
Yep. Ani chik dere nini chik look to ma ani chik tandan di genda ketrick siate say lama rang kache de shiyo yor. Yi kache shetan de namjing wa zu chik song chu song chu so so ga san chu ja tinika bet underways.
And it's very different. Sport to make the difference very different here. In this, we're talking about this relationship as a root lama, as this special relationship with the teacher. It's not about just giving teachings. It's not about impeding people to come to teachings.
Yeah.
Laura loves Sondila. Can you repeat about Geshe? Is he able to accept students? He, when you say he here, who is he, Laura? Who is able to accept students?
Se os Geshes podem ter alunos, podem aceitar alunos, ou não? Ou só lamas?
Lamas. Geshe nani kurunsu loma yo chogirepe ani bene tsai lama no shinya na lama mato contenta di lama na Geshe che facere kola. Con
Geshe
lama na Geshe chikomare.
Geshe na karsare.
Geshe na ani loma yo chogirepe.
Koran yo chogrese Geshe te koran loma cha chogrela.
Loma chagmare.
Ane yo chogre.
Yes. Yes, Geshes are able to accept student, yeah. For example, my teacher, he's Geshe Pauden Drakpa. He is Geshe, and you usually don't use terms like Lama, Rinpoche. Rika?
My question was only half answered. So like it's not just someone like the Dalai Lama, but for example, I study with Thupten children for like several years already, but she's in the US. And I don't know if I will ever meet her in person.
But you have classes with her.
I have classes with her, you can write emails to her, but it's still not the same as if you would have ever met, because she still doesn't know how I behave in everyday life. And the same on the other way. So should we, like some people don't live in Dharamsala and don't have the option to meet teachers as frequently as we have the chance here. So what to do in this kind of cases?
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, then also any the one only Germany Germany Chawale, Queen, Tindichine, Chicho. Pena, Ani Genong Tomba Nayati, Moni Chena, Ani Kyunguchani, Tomba Shukandomdi, and Domba Nanking Kimbo and Dunlandro, Chan Sita Quate Moboyer, Tinor. Then I am Gacha in Sanje Jarji Kalia, Chinji Ganis. Sanje San Domba Le and Pendoba Yunyo. That Tarimbo Shuyu, Tsuyona Lamgal Parchet in the Pemo Buyu, not to a mer. Me on the Sanje Domba Calinari, Tin Karzina, message Tanjo Dore. Children, Tintan, Timbas in me, Pats in Gekurni. You get on your roach. Tinich in the colonoi, and it don't have the Dina Monsieur, Chichor. In Zoom is Chile on was at the Homer.
Yes, so it depends on your conditions, of course. It depends where you are. For example, there is about taking the Gelong vows. Gelong is a full ordination vows. So when you're taking the full ordination vows, the ideal way, the proper way of doing it is going to a master, so a spiritual master that can give you, there is qualified to give you the full ordination vows, and you take it in front in the physical presence of this teacher. But if it happens that you don't have access, or if it's very far away, teachers like this, then it's said that you can get these vows through like writing a letter, like through contacting in other ways. So yeah, so if
Sanje Jarji cover. Sanje Koran you be covered, I think the Chonya yours.
When Buddha was here on the earth, it happened things like this, yeah, this far away communication.
Rainbow Loma Pet, Sanje San Yong Pet. Langa Namata in a Tesana Jima, Langa let chip pen a town was in the Karina, and you got you show you. The Yomagoche, Taran do this.
Yeah, for example, before, like people that were far away to come to India, to come into, it's not as easy as nowadays. So they were far away, and in the road to come to India, to come to Buddha, there were like tigers, etc. So it was very hard for them to come. So also there was this
yeah. The Quran song there's something else to try getting you.
And for example, nowadays we have the internet, we have phone. So then this way of learning, this way of forming a relationship is the same as before I was saying, through letters, etc. Now it's internet, etc. So Laura está chegando lá. Gostaria de fazer uma pergunta. Pode orar para poder explicar. Ok, pode fazer com o Lam-Rim.
Ok, Pedro. Pergunta para ele, porque eu recebi a iniciação ali nas prostrações, recebi um nome de um Rinpoche, mas eu estudei com ele só alguns meses, depois eu não tenho mais contato com ele, né? Então, tive essa iniciação na prática do budismo, com as prostrações, com o nome. E como que faço? Daí, se eu pego um outro professor, eu tenho que ser iniciada de novo na prática do budista?
Ok. Nikon, porque tawa yana lo kashin wana kun chinang jik shuson di jing porque ne jik. Indi tawa tambo yomare tawa kashe mato kon tinda ma tomason. Tawa di jing porque di. Ani chinang di chinang re yomare hako so nan chinang di chatsel ko re. Ani chatsel yang re ani kon mintak kon la mintak cheson chere.
Mintak
con la minte la minte popo ming ani chela ngana gigen shempachigona ani chenang di yang shukure pe ani chaksel di kola ena ming shempa yang shukure pe
c'est quoi moi j'ai de je ne te rien c'est min dam da ta chora
ani jeno kare
jeno shin de ori shamba sa de shina jeno ze chugshe samga sha sha mara mambo shin de
ori ngone gomare nie pas du gomare yang shukure di gigen shempa
ni par she ko ze atni de mara so nam ji wa so song jue pe na Lam-Rim ri song jue na Lam-Rim song jue ma so lama pe mambo sa shur shina ka zi shina de ri ma shina so de ko ri ni par de she ko da ya shina ya kesan yor da ter da de ko jino ni chewa da ta sha ko ma
ani ming sabayon lengomare
ming sabba mi si ta lengua da mi si ma
Yeah, so her question is about she had a initiation also about related to prostration, and she was given a name by one Rinpoche, but she only had a relationship with him. She only went to his classes for about 6 months or just a few months. And now she's asking whether if she chooses another teacher, that she needs to get all these initiations again, or she needs to get a new name or any like this. Yes? So Geshe has said that no, there is no, it's not mandatory. You don't have to get the initiations again. You're allowed to get initiations from other teachers. So you can get initiations again, not just once, but more than one time. You also don't need to get another name. You don't need to change your name with the new teacher. But yeah, you're not necessarily have to retake, for example, the initiation, but you can.
야, 그새 그 소소가 진행되는 것은 저희는 진행 빼면 무시서로. 진행랑 이나세도 구티와. 진행세도 직셔야 되게 그새 시토네 개성레시. 개야요래. 직니버때 아마고 시고레세 돼 같이요.
In initiation, the more you can get the same type of initiation, the more you can get, it's the more profit you have, the better it is. So, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
There's another question that is like, some teachers have a special like deity or something they practice with. Yeah, like they're like, let's say someone has Green Tower, but I really like the teacher, but I feel more connected to, let's say, Vajrasattva, whatever. Should I still go for the teacher that is practicing Tower, even if I would feel not so connected to Tower, or should I rather go with the deity that is connected and find a teacher that is also connected to the deity?
This is about initiations.
No, it's about
Okay.
choosing your teacher.
Choosing your teacher,
Should
okay.
I only choose a teacher that does the practice that I feel connected to?
Ani damponga ni la karit dewa shukchawa yona pena doji sempre na doji changina doma ina ani di gyune gigen jiktsona yona dampo gigen jiktsona ani kongi la mixa jik lena what's the song?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's also when he that so much 정사 다 so much 다 나가 그치. 그래도 아니 와서 남기나 지 람람로 그치 시나 아니 지 너나 얘기 강이 그치. 단다 지금 와서 무시 소소소 도마마이비 다 지금 이담 된세 다 이담세. 그래서 소소소 그냥 소소 담가지. 앞에는 어저는 그게 소소지. 아니 지당도 좋다 가리는 그게인데 아니 그런 게 니치 더 많이 양 예담 글라티 니 용수 쪽. 그 소소 그때 직조대 정도 매나요. 아니 소소는 그게 좀 봤으니 아니 라티 더 많이 용 좋다지 가리나. 또 대당 배는 소소 도만듯이 소소 예담 텐도요나. 이나 소소 그게 찍기 좀 많이 그런 게 더 많이 예담 좀 많이 맞지. 하나 지점봐. 하샴바이나 소소 하샴바 윤리주는 듣고 인생에서 때
Yeah, so for example, this is more related to tantra practice. So choosing what's your deity, what's your special deity, and this is your choice. It's your choice to choose what's going to be your uncommon deity, your special deity in tantra practice. And if it so happens that your teacher has a different deity, or he cannot give you the initiation of the deity that you have chosen to have as your special deity, then you go to a different teacher and you get the initiation from him. You get the you start this practice with another teacher. Yeah, doesn't need to be always the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same
Okay.
Never
teacher.
go Mario. Pena the Gagan, John Gagan is in the Droma, the Pixu Tengagina.
Mm.
Coronsani Droma College, Shina to Core. Droma than Jacajina, Rotinishina. The Churon do the Core. Churashina, Churon Droma, the Churon is two thing going by Omar. Churon, Yatam Shamba, Tashamba.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
yes, for
yeah,
example, if
yeah,
your
yeah.
teacher has a special connection, like his deity, special deity is Tara, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have also to have this as your main deity. About this aspect of the practice, you can go to a different teacher and require.
Yeah.
Maybe this also connects to Courtney here as, can you have more than one root guru?
Chile La.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lama.
Yes.
Yes.
Churonga Casitento Mate, Churonga Lampa.
Yeah. How much you can rely, how many you can rely, that's in your hands. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
Lama
choice.
Churamba, Kazamale Mombosh.
Now we're going to have a 2 minutes break
Oh.
because I'm going to the toilet.
Oh.
Is that okay? I come back in 2 minutes.
Pedro.
You continue in English. You continue
Yeah,
in
you
English.
can answer this one in English. Geshe. But how do you get the title Lama? Is it
Huh?
from reincarnation when you get it, or
Studies.
Yeah, actually, traditionally is Lama is reconnection person, someone who reconnected.
Yeah.
To recognize after that is we call Lama. But some Tibetan region from like not all some part of we call like Nangchin, this part. They said all monks is Lama, they called Lama. But they said Rinpoche. Rinpoche is this kind of, here is Lama. But
So every Rinpoche is also a Lama? Every Rinpoche
it's
is
a
a
Lama.
Lama.
Yeah, it's a Lama.
But not every Lama is a Rinpoche.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends in the region, but where it comes from. Yeah.
what is the meaning of being Lama?
Oh, good question.
Is that what you feel?
Yeah. Yeah, actually it is very, how to say, it's very big. Oh yeah. You have to.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's the question.
Okay, there was a
Questions?
question here.
What's the meaning of being a Lama?
Lama Sena.
On the race, yeah. Get on the Lama.
You in general, Lama.
La means Lama.
La non mi pare,
Con t-shirt la word.
Lama means it would
La
meaning of the word La.
Say
That's upwards.
top up.
La means
Yeah.
like limit. Like limit. La, the
Say.
word limit, yeah.
T-shirt.
The shirt,
Lever
yeah.
do in a lever t-shirt.
Yeah, it's like the upper limit.
Yeah,
La.
lever. And tell a nengi, tell a yonge, teaching Lama.
Lama would be the
Tell a
one
nigga
that is here.
Like the highest.
Yeah, like highest, yeah, could be. Yeah. That's the meaning of the word, yeah. That's the meaning of the word, yeah.
Inandati ko mele min ta churi Lama si. Mi kashile sanje se min ta ingrina sanje ngoni mayina.
But that's a name, for example, there are many Tibetans who are called Sangye, which means Buddha. They're not Buddhas.
Yeah. Yeah, Lama
That's the
tonta ngoni ti teres. Ngoni chana Lama se teres. Yude kone me bas. Yude tartupa. Ngoni chana.
Okay. The meaning of the word Lama is to have the perfected all the qualities. So this would be the same meaning as Buddha, to have gone to the perfection.
Yeah.
And can I ask another?
Mhm.
So I want to know like what's the difference between Lama, Rinpoche, like all
Okay. Ni Lama, Rinpoche,
like
Geshe,
all- yeah.
Lama, Rinpoche, Geshe, Kepa Karire.
Buddha, like what?
What's the hierarchy?
Lupine ngarantsune, sange padua di Rinpoche Karire. Rinpoche Karire, Rinpoche Karire, Lama, Geshe Perifetchiksa, this is soon.
Yeah, that Geshe said that Geshe that Korangi in the switch. lobgyong te aso degree name degree
Yeah,
Any
Geshe,
means
Geshe is a name given, like a title given on based on education, so it's like a degree. Geshe, Geshe degree.
Like 20 years.
oh that they damdare
Like
yeah
like
yeah
20 years are different, they're different types.
yeah the mancha gishi the kwani chung gelik choni
Most of the Geshe that have this name, they're from the tradition Geluk. Geluk.
the song yang
Geluk.
chi jamba pena pon se
Uh,
tizo nale gishi ko
Nowadays, also there are Geshes from the Bon tradition.
ani yang
Bon
gishi
tradition.
tes kyan ko mingde the song pe chotang yang shamba tes mambo shin ko
Playing Kontang.
yang gishi min ta gishi se ta de ngo so dire do PhD se ro shi mi ta de song mambo shi ramanda lob sen ramanda PhD che do den ro ta yang work na lo yin gishi de mi de song chep cheri ro chuli shamba so ke pe chotang ya ma chi ro res
And the Geshe, correct me if I'm wrong, Geshe also has many types. Yeah, this is basically
yeah
many different types of Geshes.
Yeah,
It's
what
like
it-
PhD is related, similar to a PhD.
yeah ta de
Yeah.
ta yin lama se de ngoni chena lama de truku shimbo che en donda chikpa yin ko res ni jong ta nambi jong ga ni shena
According to the text, according to the treatise, this is three words: Lama, Tuku. Maybe you have heard this term, Tuku, Rinpoche. These three have the same meaning according to the text.
ya chikpa res ta yin ya chik
But
po ki chi zong na pe che tang de
the way that Tibetan society uses it,
sane no ya en sa cho ka shi le kam cho sam cho ka shi ani trawa sama lama le res
there are some places in Tibet that they're gonna call every monk Lama. That's the word for monk, Lama.
de ko zo ta de to ko zo sa pe na chi chena la do zo ya pa chi
For example, in Ladakh, I think some people are going to say Lama, some people are going to say Gelong.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Gelong, Tawa Samala Gelong.
They're going to call all monks Gelong, which is the name for the full ordained.
Yeah, yeah. That is so current, it's a local. Money chana, shong, chana, take it to Kurumbo Chinama.
So those are things that happen in society. Actually, to the text, then Lama, Tuku, and Rinpoche, the same meaning.
Yeah, Tanda Chikares.
In Nunda Karire.
That it under the Kingdom. Koron, you are doing money chana. That took us as money chana. That Sanji Rangi Trubai.
And then, according to the text, the meaning, for example, of Lama and Tuku and Rinpoche, and Rinpoche is going to be as I explained, the word Lama is to have this perfect qualities. And for example, the word Tuku, Tuku means the emanation of a Buddha. So the body emanation of a Buddha, or the enjoyment emanation of a Buddha. There are different types.
Yeah, Tangoni China, Tindi, Tujing Muni the teacher, Tinima, Chick Sinjang Dolema, Telema, Mindu number 20. Lay on you, Tindi go your money that Tukina.
Tuku, yeah. It actually is a Tuku, then the way of understanding it actually would be the Buddha emanating a body in order to be seen by sentient beings, to humans in this world.
Yeah. For
example, His Holiness, we would consider him to be this emanation of Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha of compassion.
Yeah, Tindo. Tangoni Tukuzade, Moni took a Sunday in a Congress.
So this is what actually would be understood as Tuku.
Yeah, yeah. What the rest on that? Taina Ming Tuku Miola, and that into your mess at the time. That's it. She to think Marisitona, the mines at Chicago. Tukuzing Mio, could Lama in Tukuins in Mio, Kanshila. That $2 when it and draw Rio Marisati. Tanga she gonna corporate.
So that's the meaning. And then according to how it's used, these names, so some people have the name of Lama, name of Tuku, name of Rinpoche, and how this then it's hard to talk about whether the meaning and the name are always in accordance.
Yeah, the Korongoni Rio
if they actually are what the meaning of the word says or not, that's harder to talk about.
Yeah, that is
This I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's always
But
together.
Lama, for example, Dalai Lama, maybe when he was born, like he was a Lama, but he didn't study. Like
Mm.
Yeah.
so Lama cannot be Geshe, but
Geshe can become lamas.
yeah.
Yeah, they do it. And the Geshe had it again in the Lojong Chin Coronel, Ming Tares.
Geshe
Tagashing on the Yalan by Obush and the Mom by Koya, Chikia Mombo Giliata, Koya Sanjia, the Lamas, and the child, the young grace.
Yes, Geshe is the name of a degree, so it's a name that you get after like a PhD, after your education, and then depending on the practice of this Geshe and on how it continues after this, then he can become a lama according to this meaning of being like a Buddha, lama, similar to a Buddha, a lama, Rinpoche, Trupu.
Yeah, in a concession in a Konabu Chinju Kavla, Takona Lama Yansichi. Na ko lobyong yo marisi shkura lobyong chini che yo marisi de tanga su chendelia tanga su michik tanguni chi ta ichi kya ngama le kora kari chung yo me korone yamle kari yo me tanga su shi to mare chendele kora chini lobyong chi ya de nga su thoya la bu chinju chini lobyong chi ya de nga su thong yo ra ta ina namji nga su ichi che kar chi wa Chuma tourism, they were swimming a mingoni roshima number 10. Tungula minguni read the Mares yet it is.
Yeah, and then with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, yeah, when he was born, as he was a small child before studying, he was given the name of Lama. He was given all of this because of what was seen as to be an effect as a result of his previous lives or his practices or having achieved what state.
Yeah, you know, the Jilling Masun Toyal Cartoon Korongi, Chinjush, the Nitina Logyong Chia, Jimmy Matsut and Tawon, the Shikab Jam there. Yamasu 2 years. I think when it into Yana Matsulima, number 20, Masu 20, the Tinish 20. And then when you Jabjong the country. That you Korongi Sanjir and Namtrina, Sanjir and Matria de. Sanjir to John Joseph Treasures here, the Kazun Chichena. Kachi Joyana, and a chick Zambala Trea, Dollar Trea, Pay Momboy, me. Then the carries me number was me number Nishima, Tenjuma, Twena Kona carries a lapsana, $20 Kona carries in a Sanji Kwan the Kalorta. Kona changes a parana chasar, Tamboni. Taina Matsu Tonsella, coaching us under watch and Chingyamlin chair, Carson or Yongia Soch. Me, Namji.
Yeah, and then, for example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama in this case, it's said to be an emanation. And then the thing that what appears to us, so he's born and then he also studies and he practices. So we see all this is the way of the emanation. It appears as similar to the way that society goes. But if he is an emanation of Avalokiteshvara, and from the start, he already had all these qualities. Yeah, that's the. Maybe we live here. We are a bit past the time.
Yeah, maybe.
But we learned that's a sign of love from
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, you can stop.
No, but I asked him.
Yeah. So we're gonna stop. I'm getting maybe a bit tired. I'm starting to translate wrong. So we live here. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Oh, both of them. Hi.
Thank you, Gisela. Thank you, Pedro.
Obrigado, Laura.
Thank you.
Obrigadão.
Sim.